Hello and welcome to Two Across, the podcast where normally two friends sitting on opposite sides of the Atlantic sit down and catch up over a crossword. I am Rob, sitting in Montreal.
And I'm Theo in London. And today we are once again become three across as opposed to two, because we're also joined by my good friend Martin from Bristol. Hello, Martin.
Hello, guys, and to all your wonderful listeners too. It's an honour to be
all
on
of
with you.
them.
I have to say that I can't help but I feel like I'm being set up here, though, given that your previous guest was a language expert.
Fair point. Yes.
And now you've got on the dyslexic wildlife artist to publicly shame him. In a sort of a Trump Vance ambush.
Look, we are not in the business of any kind of White House style shaming.
Right.
This is not a trap.
Yeah.
Rob's not going to JD Vance you.
Okay.
This, I promise you.
Just set your expectations very low, okay, please? I'm really not good at crosswords.
It all depends how the crossword goes, of course. Because,
Yeah.
you know, if it gets into some dark places, I'm not above JD Vance style shaming.
Okay. I've been warned.
I was going to say how nice it is to have you on today, because otherwise, inevitably, we would have got sucked into the kind of vortex that is the Trump White House and the madness going on there,
What
and
a
the
mad
whole
week.
Ukraine thing. But fortunately, you're here, so we can talk about,
Sure.
well, you and art and wildlife and artivism and all that stuff. So I certainly, speaking for myself, I'm very grateful for that distraction. So,
Yeah.
so thank you.
Could all do with it.
Martin, introduce yourself to everybody. How would you sort of describe yourself in a nutshell?
Hi, everyone. I'm Mart, and I'm a wildlife artist, I guess, is probably the simplest way of putting it. Have been for about 17 years professionally, but been doing it my whole life. When it came to deciding what to do with my life, I didn't like the idea of not drawing as much as I was used to, so I thought I'd just give it a go, which was crazy in some ways because it's quite difficult to make a living. It goes ups and downs. I'm sure you know as creatives, both of you. But I'm still here and I'm still doing it, so that's something to celebrate, I suppose.
Huge.
But yeah, wildlife is my area, my interest. I guess my family have a long history of wildlife conservation. I started out, my first 7 years of my life were spent living in the DRC. So my parents were working to set up Mountain Gorilla Project in the Virunga volcanoes.
Nice.
And yeah, that was the environment that I was born into, I guess. A lot of their work was obviously field-based, so I was with them out in the field a lot, and that's kind of why I started drawing, because, you know, we didn't have any other distractions back then. There were no iPads.
Impoverished childhood that you had.
Right, yeah, exactly. No TV, nothing. Yeah, I started drawing, and then I just really, really liked it, and I guess I sort of had a head start on everyone because of that. So when it came to starting school, I was a little bit ahead of people. It sort of became my thing, and
Nice.
I have done it ever since.
I've known Martin for many years, since university. We lived together in London after university. I've sort of seen your career blossom over the years, and the way your style has evolved. And most recently, you've been doing a lot of what you refer to as Artivism, which I think is really interesting. Do you want to maybe explain a bit more about what that is?
Yeah, sure. Yeah, so I guess I'm starting out, there's no sort of guidebook for how to be a wildlife artist. So you start doing, I guess I started doing like pet portraits of people and then kind of moved more into wildlife. But it became a point in my career where I got a little bit, annoyed with the kind of work I was producing. I felt like it didn't have much meaning. I was happy with my skill level and all that, but there wasn't really a story to my work. And I suppose within wildlife circles, there's always been this view that beauty will compel people to want to protect animals, but it's just not true, unfortunately, especially in this day where there's just so many other distractions. People just assume everything's fine, and so the wildlife filmmaking industry cottoned onto that eventually. And there's a good example I use. If you compare you may have watched Blue Planet 1, Blue Planet 2. Blue Planet 1, when it came out, got some criticism within conservation circles because it didn't really reference the conservation story, the conservation status of some of the animals.
Right.
And you compare that with Blue Planet 2, which was released, I think, 18 years after it. And it was a totally different beast. That one had all the same stuff, all the same interesting animal behavior and beautiful shots of wildlife, but it also had this thread of despair and this storyline interwoven all the way through about what was happening to the wildlife. Yeah. And now you wouldn't see a David Attenborough documentary that didn't reference that in some way. Imagine it. It would be inconceivable. So I felt like that wildlife art industry was lagging behind in that respect. So I switched to Artivism, which is obviously an amalgamation of art and activism. And essentially it's just a kind of way of injecting more of a story, a truer story. So that's the issue, is that the narrative for wildlife is sadly so much bleaker than the kind of art that you would see traditionally would let you know. And it's sort of unfair to the wildlife not to have their backs in that way, you see what I mean? Yeah. You're just presenting a false narrative that everything's fine. So that's kind of where I came into Artivism and started adapting my work to try and interweave a story into it. It's hard, obviously, to explain. It's such a visual thing, it's harder to explain it in words. It'd be much easier to see it. And there is a lot of Artivism work on my website if anyone wants to check that out.
Avelingartworks.com.
Avelingartworks.com. Thank you, Theo. So I sort of took it upon myself to drop the challenge of Artivism into the wildlife art community. And you know what? Over the last 5 years, I've seen so much more of it, and it's really encouraging. So yeah, that's kind of the turn my work took. And yeah.
I'm just going to attempt to explain a couple of the images that you've done in that strand, just to give people a flavour of what you can do. One of them, I think one of your early examples of this was where you drew a turtle that morphed, its back flippers morph into bubble wrap, right? Which is a very sort of simple image about plastics in the ocean, but it really does speak 1,000 words. I mean, it's just, it's very powerful. There's one of, I think, please correct me if I'm wrong, but is it a lion cub climbing out of a tin can?
Yeah. Canned hunting.
Right. Yeah. And there's, just as a final one, a rhino horn that turns into a kind of finger that's dripping blood.
Yes, exactly. And that was quite a graphic one, maybe too graphic, actually. I think the most powerful work is when you strike that balance, where it actually is something beautiful to look at, but there's something up, if you see what I mean. The most recent one, I guess, example I did was a tiger profile, where the stripes turned into a barcode, which is kind of referencing those illegal markets. And that was one I actually won the Environmental Artivism Award last year at Wildlife Artist of the Year with that one, which was very cool. And actually there's one behind me, that is another piece of Artivism. Obviously the listeners can't see this, but to describe it, it's basically a frame with almost a completely blank page, except you've got a tiny little mackerel fish at the bottom, and this one is called Plenty More Fish in the Sea. So obviously referencing the emptying of our oceans and overconsumption of destructive.
And the mackerel looks like it is schooling, at least the way it's painted. It looks like it's in a giant school of fish, and yet it's completely alone.
Legend, Rob. See, you picked up on that straight away, which is great, because obviously mackerel is a schooling fish. So yeah, that's kind of how I interpret Artivism. And you just mentioned, though, an image being so powerful. I think it can be a very powerful form of communicating issues, because imagery is, our brains can digest images much quicker than words. No. And obviously in the world we're moving into, there's more and more emphasis on visual content. So I think there's a real place for Artivism going forward.
And the other strand of your work at the moment is linked to your status as a new dad. I should say a new dad of two, having recently had your second child. Yeah, well, I mean, thank you so much for taking time out of your exhausting baby schedule.
I am shattered.
I bet you are.
Last night was rough, so I'm sorry if I'm stumbling over my words a bit. I'm just so tired. But yes, that actually is very exciting as well. I've started collaborating with my daughter, who's 3 now. Nice. And we started doing it before she was 2, actually. And initially it kind of started out as a way of helping me get out of a period of art block that I'd been experiencing. And for quite a few months, when Morella was born, we had quite a traumatic birth with her, and the recovery was quite long for my wife in particular. So I kind of stopped drawing for a while, and then when I got to a point where I could get back into it, I was struggling. I was also struggling with identity a little bit as to, am I an artist? Am I a parent? Where do I put my time? And so I thought I'd bring the two together, and I just started making art with Mirella, and it was just so amazing. And yeah, initially I started just collecting her scribbles up and then turning them into something, turning what scribbles she'd made into a drawing of sorts. And then when she started using paints, she started making these really cool backdrops in watercolor that I would then collect and draw on top of. And it's just turned into something really cool. I mean, for me, it's just so lovely to be doing that with her. But we've actually commercialized it and we've started selling them. So we've sold about 20. I sold one today, actually, but we've sold about 23, 4 now, I think, of our little collaborations. And I'm putting a little bit aside for her, obviously, as well as pocket
I was
money.
just going to say, I hope she's
paid.
getting her cut.
Yeah, she's getting her cut for now. 10% I think is fair until she'll start negotiating as the older she gets, no doubt. But yeah, but it's been really lovely. Yeah. Exactly right. I know. Terrifying. Yeah.
Yeah,
So,
it's very
yeah.
impressive that you managed to get any work done at all. At
I
the
haven't,
moment,
yeah,
so.
just not a lot, but just recently I've started getting back into it. It's been really nice. She's in a new nursery, so yeah.
And your portfolio also includes a wonderful mural on our outside kitchen wall, a giraffe
Yes,
that we
Bob.
have affectionately named Bob. Although my daughter Helena pointed out recently, she thinks Bob's a female because of some particular markings, or maybe I'm not sure what gave her that idea, but I think
what's
she
it called?
read something
I forgot.
about. There is
It's
something that female
yes.
giraffes. Yeah. So we've now Bob has become Bobette.
Bobette is great, yeah. And,
Or maybe
and
Roberta,
Bob could
so
be,
full name.
still Bob for a girl.
Sure. Yeah, it's a good one. Yeah.
Blackadder goes forth.
You couldn't use that word in Quebec as a female name because it means underwear. Your pants, as you'd say in the UK, are your babette.
What? Bobette?
Bobette.
The babette is like, it would be a man's Y-fronts.
Okay.
So,
Yeah.
Oh, I'll tell her that. She'll love that. That's great. This is the thing about doing this transatlantic podcast. It's a meeting
There you
of
go.
cultures, and it's a rich seam of material. So, Rob, quickly update us on your recent activities. How's your week been since we last spoke?
very little to report. Well, we went to Quebec City, which is really cool. My sister-in-law lives there. I had mentioned on the pod last week. So we did a whole bunch of winter activities.
Sounds amazing.
Yeah, it was good, actually. Winter's slowly coming to a conclusion, so we got to grab the last little bits of snow fun. But more importantly than anything, I have a few updates that I want to share from our last crossword. A few corrections, actually, a few corrections of my own mistakes, but in fact, 3. So the first was that a friend who was a listener to the pod wrote to me, so shout out to Mike, saying he just listened to the episode where we cite Police Academy, and I made the mistake, and to quote him, at the 22-minute mark, you comment that Police Academy 6 is Citizens on Patrol. This is incorrect. 6 is City Under Siege. Citizens on Patrol was number 4. So
Hey,
amazing.
So thank you, Mike.
You've been told.
And here I was thinking, Theo was pumping me up as our resident Police Academy expert, and I clearly fell flat on my face. So thank you, Mike, for pointing that out.
Thank you, Mike.
Theo, very embarrassing listening back this editing, and I was very clear about how Yamaka's spelt, and I was so wrong.
Yeah, you were quite far wrong on that.
I was very wrong, yeah. So thank you for not mentioning it, Theo. You're a mensch, but it was Yarmulke, Yarmulka. So I'm going to correct the thing on that. And finally, jute, of which our sack was woven, is not a grass. It kind of looks like a hop. Like it's a very tall, leafy plant. I don't know what genus it is or whatever. It is nonetheless used in weaving, but it is not a grass. So I just wanted to offer those corrections to our listeners who may have been walking around with deluded notions due to the inaccuracies of the things we say on this podcast. But we're going to stop saying inaccurate things as of now. This moment.
All inaccuracies end now. So Martin, you it sounds like you're not feeling massively confident about tackling the crossword.
I'm not. I honestly, you had Henry on and he was amazing. I think it was it was at a record time to complete it. It was. I'm really not good at crosswords, so I'm not a ringer here. I'm more of a sort of bystander. But I'm hoping that I might just be able to get at least one in. I did attempt a few during the week because I'm not in the habit of doing crosswords, and I find them really hard.
So one of the things that inspired this podcast was when I was a kid, and you knew my grandma Eva.
Yes, of course.
And
Eva.
I used to go to her house at a weekend, and one of the sort of the most memorable moments of those weekends was when we would all sit around the kitchen table, and the Guardian quick crossword would come out. And as the grown-ups did the crossword, we would all occasionally chip in, but the whole point was it became this great sort of conduit for wider conversation. And obviously, we, as kids, we'd love to have a go. And if we got a clue, it would be an amazing thing. But the point was, what I'm saying is the point was not the crossword itself. It was what the crossword enabled to happen around that table. So that's the spirit of doing this.
All right.
It's much as we count the scores and keep a timer and whatever.
I am relieved that you got a win last week.
Yes.
I'm relieved that you got. It takes the pressure off a little bit.
Oh no, we have the hunger now.
Yeah, you've got the hunger now. Got the taste of it.
Yeah, we get the taste of it.
Well, let's see.
Let's not jinx ourselves. All right.
Come on.
Without further ado, should we do it?
Yes, sir.
Let's go to the crossword, because crossing words is fun.
Theo, you want to give us the rules while we're loading it up?
I shall. So do play along at home, as always, if you would like to. It just sort of makes it a bit easier to get a sense of what we're trying to do. This week's crossword is the Guardian Quick Crossword number 17,106, I think. So yeah, if you bring that up on your screen, whatever that may be, and I keep a timer of 30 minutes. We haven't seen anything in advance. We don't cheat, obviously, and we just see how we get on. But yeah, that's all there is to say, really. So shall I get the timer going, Rob?
Yes, sir.
Martin, you
I've got it up. Yeah.
locked and loaded?
Locked and loaded.
You, as our guest, should have pick of where we start. So,
Okay. Drawn to this one because it says animal.
Excellent.
Good.
Pack animal. That's number 6 down. Pack animal, and it's 5 letters. Could that be hound? No.
Oh,
Could be a
nice.
hound.
What are the pack animals?
Hyenas?
Yeah, a hyena is a pack animal.
Yeah.
If we look at 4 across, would use that as its third last letter, whatever the first letter is. And in both senses, we're saying H.
H.
So a slow walker, thriller writer Eric something died 1998.
I hate it when they do these ones where
Oh,
it's a very specific piece of knowledge
Yeah.
that you either know or you don't.
But it's also a synonym of slow synonym of slow walker, like a dawdler
And
or
if
something.
hound or indeed hyena are correct, 6 down starts with H, so that would mean the 4th letter is H. I can't think of the writer. Do you have a guess for the writer? Anyone?
Not I. I mean, he died in 1998, which would suggest, unless he died young of drink or whatever, his writing era would have been the 60s or 70s or something. So,
Yeah. Okay. Let's come back to it. Let's see if we can get any of the downs. 5 down is a one-piece swimming costume.
yeah.
There is a name for that, isn't there?
A burkini.
Yeah. What's the Victorian thing? Like, you know, the old blokes in Victorian
Ooh.
postcards. It
Yeah.
looks like a sort of pair of shorts and a vest that are sewn together. But I've no idea what that's called. A romper suit or something.
A romper suit. Nice. A onesie. Fuming, 11 across, could give us our last letter of our pack animal, which may prove Theo right in his suggestion because it's 5 letters long for fuming. And I had an idea for it which would suggest hyena was right.
Go on. What's your guess?
It could be irate.
Oh, that I like, yes.
It's the sort of
Okay.
word that one should summon as a father every once in a while to really let your kids know how you feel. I am irate.
Well, if that means hyena's correct, then, well, one, I feel very smug that I may have got
Very
an
good, Theo.
animal-related clue over Martin. But it also means 9 across, which is bind, 7 letters, has a 5th letter of E.
Yes.
Bind.
Bind.
You see, I did warn Martin before we came on air. I was like, these crosswords have been getting harder.
They
in
are,
recent
man.
Weeks,
They have.
And this is going to be another one, I can already tell.
Quite possibly. Let's just stick to areas we know. What about 7 down is a double-breasted coat? It's, if irate is right, the second last letter is an E. So there's a few things that could fit there, including blazer and jacket. but is there a better word for a double-breasted coat? Because not all blazers are double-breasted, right? You can get a single-breasted blazer, can't you?
Jacket. There's a Crombie, but that I think is just like a smart woolen coat. I don't think it's a necessarily double-breasted.
If it started with the letter
I like
A
blazer, actually.
or R.
I like blazer.
Yeah.
I think blazers, yeah.
But the problem is then we have, if we look at our slow walker, I think we'll ignore thriller writer Eric, then that would be ending in a B, whereas I almost wonder if that wouldn't end in an R. But I don't know a double-breasted coat starting with R. Your romper would fit there, Theo, but I think we're stretching that too far.
Yeah, sadly not a romper.
Now, bind could be to attach, like to bind someone's hands, to bind two things together, to unite, but it could also be to be in a bind, like a difficult situation or...
If you're in a fix, but that's obviously far too short. Do you know what might unlock this for us is 9 down, which is shut out 9 letters. And
is that an American sports term, shut out?
It is in hockey.
Hockey, okay.
So, clean sheet.
Oh yeah, clean. But would that be one word, Theo, or two?
Either way, it doesn't fit, sadly.
Oh, here you go. I think we can all get this. I think. Gunners from London, 19 across, 7 letters long. Which
Arsenal.
Yeah, you got to think, eh?
Yeah.
And then that could open up the bottom right section and would give us the opportunity to mess around a little bit in there, and maybe we could come back up once we've got some confidence from the bottom.
Right, so let's put Arsenal
I like that,
in.
okay. 19 across.
So that would be Arsenal, and then, for instance, 16 down, person using another's service. 6 letters long, second letter L. Person using another's services. Oh, yes.
That's
very
good.
nice, Theo.
I think we can get 20 down as well, which is European capital, 5 letters beginning with S.
There's only one that comes to mind immediately, which is Sophia. Are there others?
Yeah, that's what I was going to say too, Rob. Definitely not Split, which is definitely not a capital, is it?
Well, it's in Croatia.
Sophia.
Let's go for Sophia. It's only because I've been to Split, so it's sitting there in my mind. But obviously Zagreb is the capital of Croatia, not Split. So yes, Sophia. And then 22 across. Oh, it's a little bit animal related, Mart. 22 across, sliver, brackets, of fish or coconut.
Yeah. Sliver. Starting in F, ending in E, 5 letters long.
Does it end in E? Because I was thinking it could... Yeah, go on, Mart.
No, I haven't got anything.
I was thinking fillet.
I think I do. No, I think I do know what it is, Theo, and I don't think it's fillet. Because I want to keep your client. It's so good. I believe it is flake.
Flake? Oh, coconut flakes. Yeah, okay. I didn't know.
Well, fish flakes when you sort of take a fork to it, doesn't it? Like that. Isn't that what they call it?
That fits nicely.
Does coconut flake?
Yeah, coconut flakes. Little flakes. Yeah, for sure. Yeah.
Okay.
No, I like this.
You could buy them at your local Tesco Express.
Yeah. Okay, so...
Because the reason I say I picked up the A somewhere else, which was 14 down, upper edges of a ship's side. Upper edge,
anything nautical, I'm never...
Well,
need an L for that,
strong.
Theo.
Yeah. Or my in-laws, they're very good.
This applies largely, at least I never heard it apply to a large ship, but to a small craft like a rowboat or a canoe. And I believe it's a gunnel.
Oh, Rob.
I told you he was good, Mark.
Yeah, I know he's good. I've listened to a few. That is... definitely does the heavy lifting on this.
Not so.
But how are you spelling gunnel? Are there 2 L's at the end?
No, I think it's gun whale.
Oh. Okay.
Is it really?
Wow.
Yeah.
Of course it is, because it's nautical. And anything nautical, they just like to say, do it differently. It's not a rope, it's a line. And it's not left, it's port. And, all of this stuff. It's like, you're just doing this for the sake of it.
Did you ever see those Monty Python sketches where they have the guy who talks in sort of Battle of Britain era RAF speak? and it's completely indecipherable, sort of like gibberish. And he comes in and he's like, "Hello, Meta," and then he gets into this big spiel with words you've never heard. So I think it's similar. The RAF, I guess, in World War II had that going as well.
Just take the line and go to the starboard side, and then what? And even the toilet, they can't call it a toilet. It's called.
Attach the lanyard to the right gunnel.
A toilet on a ship is called the heads.
That's right. That's true.
The heads.
Of course it is. Yeah, the heads.
Sure.
Why
Because
not?
it's at the head of the ship or something. I don't know. Anyway.
Yeah.
Right, warning. We've got all the letters for this one, so we're going to have to get it. It's 24 across. It's 6 letters. Blank A, blank E, blank T.
Ooh.
And that's assuming that client and gun whale, gunnel.
I'm sure on gunnel.
Okay.
Great.
Oh, no. A warning. So you fire off a flare? No.
Yeah.
What could come between the E and the... That must be an N, surely. Or it could be an R.
Yeah. Yeah, it could be an N or an R. It could be an S too.
Oh, no.
Let's come back to it.
Right, let's come back to it.
Our subconsciouses will be working on it while we look at the other things. That's my theory.
Okay.
Sure.
I like it.
So you gotta believe something.
Yeah.
Oh, here's one we've had before,
yours
Theo.
might.
Yeah, well, we'll see. The 13 down, viscera, because we had this before, didn't we?
Yes, we did. And I think at the time, well, we said it was related to the stomach, didn't we?
Yeah,
So
I think it was innards, what we put
innards
in.
or entrails.
I think we put innards in. I think we were going with entrails, and then we put innards. Now, both...
Maybe. Yeah.
That's how long we've been doing this podcast, that we're now getting repeated clues.
Repeating.
Mark.
But maybe
Yeah.
they've gone entrails this time.
It could, but
If it was-
entrails wouldn't fit.
Oh.
It's one letter too
Entrail.
long,
Yeah.
whereas
All right.
innards, we could get it. Here's one for us lads. 17 across, emasculate, which is 5 letters long, and it would end in N if innards is proper. So everyone, close your eyes and think of a time you've been emasculated.
That might take a while, Rob.
You have to sift through the different moments there.
Yeah, it's like looking back through your camera roll. You know, it's going to take a long time.
It's too triggering.
Okay. So, 17 across, emasculate. What do you do if you emasculate? You like castrate, don't you? Or you
Yeah.
make somebody feel really small,
Yep.
he says, twitching.
Uh.
Okay, let's try and get a letter on it.
Okay.
15 down.
God, these
What
are
is
hard.
this? Oh, what is it? Tommy rot.
Tommy
6
Rot.
down. What is that?
I know.
So that's presumably related to the First World War, and it must. What's the thing you get? You get gangrene.
Oh, yeah.
You get trench foot. You get.
Yeah.
There's another word, isn't there, for something that you can get?
Is that when your
in
Tommy rots? That's what happened to one of these. You get trench foot as well when your Tommy rots. You know, you've been lying down in a rat-infested pool for too long.
That's exactly what it is.
Because
They called the soldiers the Tommies, didn't they? So my guess is Tommy rot is some sort of
Ailment of sorts.
ailment that you get in the trenches. But God Almighty, that's tough.
Yes.
God.
A hovering hunter. I think this is wildlife related. 21 across.
Hovering hunter. So that'd be a bird of prey of sorts, maybe.
Yeah,
Like,
fifth letter R if innards is correct.
where's in it?
Yeah, innards would be
Hunter?
13 down.
Like a kestrel. I'm bad with knowing how many letters there are in words, but
Kestrel's a good guess.
kestrel,
Yeah.
because they do hover.
But I think
Yeah.
it's
Actually, they're
EL,
the
isn't
only-
it?
Is it?
Yeah, but that's fine. That fits.
Sorry, I was trying to save my innards.
No, it does. It fits with innards.
Oh, it does too. You're
yeah.
completely right, because that's an
Yeah,
R,
yeah.
not an A. Thank you, Theo.
Martin.
Okay.
Okay, that
Here we
could
go.
work.
Brilliant.
Well, so
Notice when it
They
went
do
across.
hover, kestrels, famously.
I think they're the only bird of prey that properly hovers as well.
Yeah.
okay, because that gives us some great letters, including a K in 15 down, which is not an easy one, and an L is the last letter of our shutout.
Oh, I think we can get 18 down as well, which is Scrooge, 5
Yes.
letters, And with the S from kestrel as the third letter, could that be miser?
Oh, yes.
Oh, nice.
I'm with you there.
Oh, we're moving.
Here we go. Come on.
Are we willing to put... Oh, emasculate. I think I might know what it is, because if it's space M space N for...
Mart, have you got it? You made a
Space,
noise
space.
like you'd had a moment of...
I think I'm
revelation.
just a bit behind you. I'm just celebrating Miser still.
Oh, right.
You guys are ahead. So, okay, what? Emasculate. Do you have it, Rob?
I think it could be to unman.
Yes. I was unmanned.
Okay.
I have been unmanned.
Brilliant.
That's a great one.
I'm going to
Okay.
save that for the next time.
Yeah, challenge for the two of you and myself. Use unman in the next week in the context of emasculate. So like if you're grocery shopping with your kid and she wants you to put on the pink beanie or something.
Oh,
like,
that won't be hard.
Yeah.
That won't be hard.
You have unmanned me.
I can show you my toe right here. There's blue nail polish on it.
oh, very nice.
Okay.
But that's modern manned. I mean, ultimately, as my daughter reminded me, she told me that men can wear nail polish, Dad. I'm like,
Yes.
yeah.
There was a
Yes, you
word,
can.
there was a buzzword a while ago that was metrosexual. And that went
Yes.
around for a while. And I used to use that as a badge of honor. I was like, oh, I'm quite metrosexual. That's fine. I just sort of, it sounded a bit like, Renaissance man or whatever.
Yeah.
But it seems to have disappeared from the kind of, from
Yeah,
the
it
culture
has
now.
gone. You don't hear it much, do you?
And you can't put that on your passport application, for instance.
It just makes it sound like you're really into tube stations or something.
Yeah, you have a kink of wanting to get it on in the back of the back car of a tube.
Love me an escalator. So Tommy Rot now has a second letter of U and a fourth letter of K, and it's 6 letters long. So it sounds like it could be like funk something.
Or it could be junket. That's the only word I can think that would fit there. But
That really sounds like a nasty kind of...
we do have one here. Ooh, I think
Junket.
because I think 23 across it's sullen is the clue. It's 6 letters long. Third letter R, fifth letter S for sullen. And oh my gosh. Yeah, that could be morose.
Oh, yes.
And then I think could Tommy Rot, because Tommy Rot sounds like that's just a load of Tommy Rot, you know?
Yeah.
Could something like
Yeah,
bunkum.
like nonsense.
Like bunkum.
Bunkum!
Isn't that a word?
Yes, it is absolutely
Is
a word,
it?
Rob.
Wow, how have you pulled that one out?
So
Bunkin.
this is a running theme, Mart, in these
Yeah.
crosswords, that they love a kind of like old school P.G. Woodhouse type expression that sometimes they'll just throw one in, like mumbo jumbo. Or,
Yeah.
So you've got to sort of imagine that you're Boris Johnson giving a
Right.
speech. What sort of thing would you say? And bunkum is definitely the kind of word that he would utilise. Well got there, Rob. I think we've cracked the bottom left corner.
We have cracked the bottom left corner, I believe. Kestrel, I have to say, cracked it open because that
That's
K
very
was key.
Yeah,
Yeah.
hopefully set it in motion.
It did.
And then I'll... Okay, what's time, Theo?
So we're on 11 minutes left. So
Left?
we have,
Oh, God,
we have
okay.
got a bit of work to do.
That's motor. We haven't even attempted top left.
No,
so.
we haven't attempted top left. Should we get one that could bridge us across to get
Try.
up to the top, which would be moment, 9 letters long, 12 across, third letter I, last letter G, which one imagines would end in I-N-G.
Ing, yeah.
ING. A.
Theo and
Yeah.
Martin, if it ends in ING,
Flighting.
I was joking before, but burkini is still very much in the running for
Well,
one
yeah.
piece swimsuit
Very
because it
much.
ends in I space I. Like I'm getting to
maybe
the
it
point
is.
where I'm wondering if burkini's not right.
Let's pencil it in. Because there is surely
flighting?
not another word that means one-piece swimming costume.
No,
I mean,
it's not
unless there's something, again, very
Do
old
it.
school. And
Put it in there.
I mean, I don't.
bikini is penciled.
The only problem is, you know what? No, I don't think. Could it be a tankini? Because
That's...
space
Yeah,
B
that's-
space that's 2 pieces, isn't it?
A tankini.
Tankini? Is it?
Yeah, I don't know. I just remember my daughter when she was young talking like kids would wear like that was a sort of younger girl's swimsuit type. Because the problem is the slow walker is then space B space H if hyena's right,
Come here.
which is just strange. space B
Is that
space
your dog
H.
Jack, Martin, making
That is Jack. Yeah, it's
lovely
just appeared. I know.
rubbling sounds? Hello, Jack.
What do you want, boy? Wants to be let out, maybe.
Aw. Jack was kind of our gateway dog. We
Yeah,
looked
he
after
was,
Jack
wasn't
for
he?
a couple of weeks, and he was
Sort of the
he was
clincher.
so nice. We decided
It's
to
lovely.
get one ourselves.
I don't know about the burkini. It seems
Well, let's put tan.
I like
Let's go with
tankini.
tan.
okay.
So that I think this thriller writer might be something like No, it can't be.
Well,
And it's what?
A blank. Sorry, A-T blank. No, blank T blank H blank blank.
oh my god, what is this?
And what's the slow walker? It sounds like it's a synonym of what? I don't.
like a dawdler or
Oh.
an ambler maybe could be.
So that.
Oh,
Okay.
Eric Ambler? Maybe?
Ambler.
I mean, that would mess up our turkey.
Whoa.
Oh, could be a mankini.
Oh yeah. That's it.
Do you know what? It could be. It absolutely
Yeah.
could be. I think it must be Ambler.
Ambler does sound.
So then it can't be hyena.
Well, then our pack animal is L
Ah.
3 spaces A for our pack animal. I don't even know of an animal that fits there.
Llama.
Oh,
Llama.
yes, of course.
Yeah.
The old llama.
Do you know?
The llama.
It
Is that-
turns out this crossword has hinged on a few animal clues. This is kind of perfect.
Yeah, this is kind of perfect. Now we're
So, yeah,
going.
llama,
it's
double L.
double L. Yeah, okay.
So Ambler, llama, and mankini we're going with.
Okay.
Apparently, we're
that's
going with
brilliant.
mankini.
Does that make 9 across? What was 9 across again?
Bind.
Bind. Oh.
Yeah.
Blank blank N blank A blank blank.
And our double-breasted coat starts with R. It's R 3 spaces E space.
Oh,
Should we go up and try the top left just to get because
We might need to
So-
get something there, right?
one
7
down,
minutes.
rainbow color, 6
Yeah.
letters, and now to think of the Boards of Canada song Roy
Violet?
Begive. Yeah, Violet's one of them. Indigo's another.
Indigo.
Both of those would fit. Effect, moment of collision, 6 letters long, could start with either V or I to see which one of those would be right. Moment
Like
of collision. It could be instant.
Smash.
Ooh.
No, it doesn't fit.
Oh, instant.
Yeah.
So that would obviously mean indigo could work. Let's pencil indigo.
Yeah.
10 across is thug, 7 letters. And if it's indigo, it begins with G, so that could be gangster.
That okay, there you go, Theo. Nice one.
Ah, I like
Oh, no,
that.
it doesn't fit.
No?
It doesn't fit.
Shit. Oh, that was so good. Okay, well then Violet's still in the running.
Should try
'cause it could start at E as well. Or we have geek, US, and if it were
Dweeb.
oh wow, yes, 100%. I was thinking
Yeah.
dork, but it's too short. Yes, nice one.
Dweeb. Okay.
Okay, then coterie, 3 letters, 3 down, 5 letters long, has this middle letter B if it's dweeb. Nice one with dweeb double EB. Are we thinking?
Yeah.
Double EB,
Okay,
definitely.
okay.
3.
And then 2 down is French figure of pantomime,
Well, that's you,
which I
Theo.
feel, I know, I should really know this, but my French is awful. But your French is good, Rob. So between us,
Yeah, but I don't know squat about
My
pantomime, Theo.
Knowledge of pantomime is not strong.
Yeah.
because an Italian figure of pantomime could obviously be related to Commedia dell'arte, but a French figure of
Ooh.
pantomime would be, yeah.
I've got moment
Go
of
on.
collision is impact.
Great.
So your French figure
Yes.
of pantomime starts with P. Now 3 down, coterie, C space B space space for a coterie. C space B.
A cabal.
Ah, yes.
Oh.
Nice one.
Yeah?
Yep.
Because a coterie
Nice.
is like a group of something, yeah? Or,
So now our thug has a third last letter of L, a first letter of G, and is 7 letters long for a thug.
it can't be gangster.
No, I mean, could be gang something, gangler. No, that's-
Gangler.
Oh.
watch out for
Ga-
Jimmy, he's a gangler.
A gang lad.
Gang lad, yeah, that could work too.
Gang lad.
That's
That
not
sounds-
a thing, though, is it?
I don't think so.
Could be. I mean,
What's this pantomime thing?
Bunkum.
Rob,
Yes, it's a load of bunkum.
presumably it's PRE,
You got me.
because you have a
man.
dame, a horse. What else?
This is where I lose.
Oh, no.
Can we get any more letters with the acrosses?
12
We're
across.
trying
This
to-
moment
12 across.
now has a so
Moment.
got a bad feeling about this, guys. 3.5 minutes.
Oh,
No.
God.
But then we said this last week in
Yeah.
a similar
We
situation,
did,
and we
pulled it
pulled it out
back.
of the bag.
Oh,
we can
my goodness.
we can jump about between us, just go
Yeah.
anywhere. I'll do a quick recap for the listeners of what we're lacking. So we still need to get 24 across warning, which is blank A, blank E, blank T. We've got 12 across moment, third letter I, ending we think ing. That's 9 letters. 7 down, double-breasted coat. 6 letters beginning with R. 9. There's so many of them. I can't
there's
really.
loads.
I'm just
God.
wasting time. And we've got 3 minutes exactly. So, come on.
Bind.
An impasse bind. No, doesn't fit.
No.
Doesn't fit with mankini. And doesn't fit anyway. 'cause it's got a
Assuming
double S.
Mankini's right, which we don't.
I like mankini too much to
Okay.
jettison.
To lose it. Bind.
Pet. What is the pantomime thing?
Oh.
Oh.
Oh, such a shame. Shut out. Shut out. This one is the most relevant to our situation. 9 letters long, ending in A space L. Shut out. Oh, it hurts us.
I can't think of any word for that that's long. You would say
Yeah.
disbar or
I mean, it presumably ends in either A-I-L or A-L-L.
this is a bad one. I'm so sorry, Mart. We should have loaded
No.
the dice and
Shut out.
got you on for a
I'm so sorry I haven't been able to
doable
help. This is
crossword. You've been very helpful. This is not on you.
Let's not start getting maudlin
on.
here.
This is on the Guardian
Yeah.
Quick Crossword Setter.
Yeah.
Curse their name.
No, this is on Theo not knowing his French pantomime.
yeah.
Yeah, you're right.
let's be honest.
There is a word like perico or something that means like a some kind of a
Moment.
clownish figure.
Yeah.
I just
Well, that would have it ending in either U or T.
oh no.
Like it could be a
guys.
moment, could be like a twinkling of his eye,
Twinkling's good.
Oh.
and then shut out would be K space A-L-L or A. I put double L because I didn't know what I went out after the A, but shut out. I don't know because you said
Twinkling's a great shout. I think
Yeah.
a moment, a twinkling, in the twinkling of an eye.
yeah.
Yeah, that is good.
Shut out. No, I've got no clue here.
20 seconds
Yeah. Okay.
Is that it?
to get
Oh,
6
Lord.
clues.
Forget it.
Forget
Oh,
about it.
embarrassing.
No, not embarrassing. We hold our heads high. No,
Oh.
we're done. We're done.
right.
3, 2, 1.
Damn you, Guardian.
Let's get this French figure of pantomime and see if we can get some help from that.
Okay, we can at least salvage.
Okay, so you weren't
some
bad,
measure.
Theo. It's Pierrot. Like I guess,
Hero, that's what it is.
like mon ami Pierrot from
yes,
Au clair de la
the
lune.
hero. That's I should have got that. I really should have got that. That was
Oh, Thug is now. Here's more animal theme, Martin. We just need to get
Oh.
more letters.
No.
Thug is now G space R space L space space.
Is it a gorilla? No, wait.
Yes,
Yes.
yes.
Oh my
It is a
goodness. I can't believe it. We're talking about
What a
gorillas at the
bad
beginning
clue.
as well.
I know.
That is a bad clue, and I feel
especially in a conservation context.
absolutely. What's thuggy about? I mean, I guess yeah. No,
It's a
Don't
you know
like
what's
that.
an unfair stereotype to gorillas.
it
Frankly,
is absolutely. They're very gentle, actually.
Your-
Oh dear.
Crosswords done, that was fun. Now let's have a chat.
Mark, your parents
That's King Kong. Yeah,
they
for-
ran the Diane Fossey project, didn't they? Your
They overlapped with her. They were setting up the tourism branch of gorilla conservation while she was working there. Actually, while she was back in the US, I think she'd been asked to leave. She was a very complicated person, Diane Fossey.
yeah,
Very difficult person
Fascinating.
to be around.
yeah.
Yeah.
I think I have blackball. Sorry, I think I have shut out, and I think it's blackball.
Maybe you should see a doctor, Rob.
What is it? Blackball.
I think so because the K from twinkling and now the A from gorilla gives us space A space K space A space L. So I think
Blackball.
blackball is the only one that's going to fit in there.
I haven't heard that expression.
I haven't either, no.
Really? Oh, it's to blackball
Blackball.
someone is basically
Oh, of course. Yeah, yeah. They're banned.
yeah. Like if we didn't
Yeah.
want you in our club, Theo, to wearing your double-breasted jacket. We would blackball you.
I think I'll be blackballed after this performance.
Not in the least.
Pepper Martin, he says, making a note.
Were we blackballing based on poor performances, there would be no podcast.
Yes, good point. Right, double-breasted coat, speaking of, is a reefer.
A reefer?
Have you ever heard of that?
No.
Surely a reefer is a
Well, there's a
joint.
reefer as a type of coat, I think. Yeah, I think it's another sailor thing.
Of course it is.
I think it's a sailor thing.
They wouldn't just call it a coat.
Well, because they like their reef knots, right?
Yes, good point. It's a reefer. So bind
is still
9 across is now B blank N blank A blank E.
Bandaged. No. Yeah.
I'm in a
Bandage.
bandage.
Bandage, isn't it?
Bandage, nice.
And then we only have one more to get, which is our warning. Blank A, blank E, blank T. I think even if we got all the others, we still would have been stuck on this.
Yeah, this one.
Yeah. I definitely think
Go on, Rob.
Pierrot was unfortunate that had to even be in this crossword.
I really should have got that, and I'm annoyed at myself.
I think we've had reefer before with the clue was something like marijuana cigarette or something like that. But we have had that word before.
Would have got that one.
Yeah.
Warning. Do you know what warning is? And I have issues with this. Warning is caveat.
Yeah.
But is a caveat not more of a kind of a condition or something, or a like an asterisk?
Yeah.
It comes with caveats.
But I think that those are warnings because caveat emptor is buyer beware. So I guess Latin it must be something like beware.
Henry would have got that one.
Henry would have definitely would have got that. Yeah. Probably got reefer. And definitely would have got Pierrot.
Oh, but Theo, why didn't you invite him today? What the hell?
But Mart, it's been great to have you on.
It's been fun. Great. Yeah. I'm sorry I haven't helped your winning streak.
Had it any other way.
No.
Right. So we're now officially, what is it, Rob? Are we 14-7 or something? 13-7? 13-7.
7 and 13, as I would say over this way.
7 and 13. Yeah. We can still come back from this. But those were hard.
So have we revealed yet? No, we haven't yet revealed this, have we? No.
We haven't checked all.
You have. Check all.
But it feels a bit academic today because obviously we did get everything else correct.
Did we? So Bunkum was right, yeah?
Seemingly, yeah.
That was a great shout.
Wrong on my crossword.
I probably did too. Let me see.
I spelled it with K-E-M, but apparently
it's
it
U-M.
is K-U-M.
Oh, I spelled it wrong.
Oh, and you would have been crossword a record too, Theo, had this ever counted. But
no, I wasn't because you did the intro wrong.
Oh, okay, yeah, no. So I had it U-M.
If you were correct, then it's fine. We're fine.
And Martin, I would not be so disconsolate about your performance because you got Kestrel, which I wouldn't have gotten. You got Dweeb, which I don't think either of us would have gotten.
That was a good one.
And you got us the
Been
Yama.
called it so many times. Yeah, okay. I suppose I got some,
And Arsenal?
Arsenal, yeah. We all got that, though, didn't we? I was happy with Kestrel, because at least that's my knowledge area, and I didn't get that wrong. Disappointed with Gorilla, but I'm blaming the cute.
Ever drawn a Kestrel, Mark?
No, I haven't. I have drawn a Lana Falcon that everyone thinks is a Kestrel because it's kind of floating, but it's not specifically. But no, I have drawn a Kestrel. What am I talking about? Of course I have.
What's your favourite? I know it's a very glib question to ask,
it's hard, but generally I like the birds. Are really fun to with the medium I use, which is pastel pencil, almost exclusively. Birds are really fun. It just works for them. I have to say, Rob, I was very delighted to be introduced to your friend, Alex Egan.
Ah,
through your last podcast. She is wonderful.
Yeah, she's great.
She is brilliant. And she did the cover art as well for your album, I know, right?
She did, yeah.
So good, that piece. It's really stunning.
Yeah, it's gorgeous. When I'd first seen that, I think it popped across my feed on Instagram. It just grabbed me, and I was like, I must have this as an album cover. And as I said in the previous pod, Alex was good enough to let me use it for that purpose. But yeah, she's great. She's done a lot of wildlife work herself. So if you've seen like her site, she's done a lot of... We have a painting of horses of hers up in our living room that we got as a wedding present, which is just incredible. But yeah, she's a great.
Yeah, I started following her Instagram. It's a lot of trees, a lot of floral stuff, which I find really tricky. So it's so impressive when I see someone nail that. Don't know why I find it difficult, but I just do.
Yeah. But trees became a sort of an interesting sideline that she did, and people hire her to come to their sort of land, their estates or wherever they live, and paint favorite trees of theirs. Oh. So they commission a lot of tree portraits from their beloved trees, or, you know, trees in their area or neighborhood or in fields where they walk or something. So she'll often come and then she'll sit in different seasons with the tree.
Ah, brilliant.
And sort of really get to study it and understand it. And so when you see the trees she paints, there's so much feeling in them, and I don't know, there's something about them.
I don't know how she does it, but yeah, you're right. That totally comes across.
That's got to be the perfect subject, a tree, for a commission. I mean, they're not going to...
Well, you can sit and quite happily draw paint from life. Without, Snow leopards, bit more tricky.
Paint from camera trap.
Yeah, exactly.
Martin drew an artist impression of... There was a story a while ago, wasn't there, Mart, about a species of... Remind me what the species was.
They discovered, which is quite rare to discover a new species of primate in this day and age, but there was...
Really?
They discovered a new species of snub-nosed monkey, the Myanmar snub-nosed monkey. And my mum was working for Fauna and Flora International at the time, and so I got commissioned to do an artist's impression of what it might look, because they didn't have any photos yet of it, which was very cool. Theo, it's so funny you brought that up, because I remember telling you that. And I remember telling you, listen, you can't tell anyone, all right? It's embargoed. And you were just like, and then when I told you, you were like, oh, wow, hold the front page. I know, I maybe oversold the secret.
Surely not, Mart.
No, it made me laugh. But that was very cool.
So was your initial portrait sight unseen? How did it stack up to the snub-nosed monkey once seen?
It was pretty good, yeah. It was pretty close. I'm trying to remember if yes, there was a dead specimen that I had a photo of to work from. So
I thought it was like you were like a police sketch artist. You know, can you describe the monkey that stole your that stole your lunch? Well,
no nose, big lips. Yeah.
I once had a seagull take an entire ice cream off me in Cornwall, which was, I mean, it was impressive.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. It was first, I know, I mean, if you live around there, it probably happens all the time, but for me, it was the first time this had happened, and I couldn't quite believe it. And obviously, everybody around me thought it was hilarious. this down from
they'll mug you.
Coming
they
in.
will.
Yeah. I was impressed. Just lifted the entire ball
Dissolving.
out of the cone. Off it went. Yeah.
Not its first time. Knew what it was doing.
They could tell you were not from Cornwall because you didn't do the classic double-handed ice cream eat with a hand over top of the scoop, you know, to prevent hovering birds from... You could have had a kestrel coming at you, Theo.
Yeah.
That's a good point. Not to put a downer on things and at a final point, but we should mention that conservation is just one of many things at the moment that feels like it's reaching a crisis point. And the current... Certainly the current administration in the US and administrations elsewhere seem to have now put it so far down the priority list. In fact, to the point where it's quite the opposite. It's like drill, baby, drill, and all of this. Do you give in to sort of a feeling of hopelessness on that front, Mark?
No. You can't. I think if you lose hope, that's it, isn't it? You've got to hold on to hope. I'm always encouraged by the next generation. I look to them. Hopefully it's not too late, but they are so much more clued up than we were about conservation issues. I had the beginning of the year, there was a GCSE student and an A-level student that both got in touch with me, and they were doing their art project on Artivism. And I was so encouraged by that. That's it, kind of unheard of, especially when I was doing my art exams at school. If I'd even suggested wildlife, I would have been, laughed out the room. Because there has existed this irreverence towards wildlife as an art form from the sort of elitist mainstream art
a kind of
world.
Snobbery towards
a massive snobbery.
Yeah.
I remember hearing it being described as hobbyist and impure form of art. And actually, and that was right at the beginning of when I was setting out on my career. I was like, what are you on about? I've actually always thought it is actually the purest form of art, because if you go back in history, the first ever human creatives, they were essentially wildlife artists. If you look at cave paintings, all the attention, the detail, the focus is the animals, and the people are kind of secondary. So I think it's very unfair, but it has had that reputation. But I think, and I hope that is changing now. And I was really encouraged to be approached by those two students. That gives me hope.
Yeah.
But yeah, you're right. It's what's happening with funding, because we've had friends in research that have had their funding cut with Trump's administration and Elon.
Yeah.
I guess you just got to hope that it's 4 years and then we can get them out of there. It's been a big day today. I know, like, this is not a politics podcast, but I can imagine you, Rob, with the tariffs coming in today.
Oh, yes.
There's a lot to...
I think Canadians have passed through all the stages of grieving, and now we're sort of just in, I don't know, we're in limbo. Like, this is happening. Okay. Like, all right, let's get on with it. Let's do these tariffs and we'll sort of figure ourselves out. And it's, I don't know, it's interesting. If there's anything strategic behind the whole flood the zone thing, I think it is to trigger the sort of thing you were talking about, is hopelessness. And so I think hope is really important. But I think that following the news cycle aggressively is a zero sum. It's a lose-lose game. You're not going to win that. You have to stick in your lane and what's important to you, and you have to work at it. And you have to attract other people to think the same way and work in their own lane and link up where you can and just keep going. That's the biggest thing. That's why I was really, really excited about Theo bringing you on today, because I think it's a message in general for listeners and for everyone who's a bit disheartened, and certainly a lot of my country people are today, to just keep going. Tomorrow's another day. And as you say, whether it's 4 years of Trump or whether it's let's just figure out what we can do ourselves.
Yeah. Amen. If you can just focus in on something that is a bit more specialist to you, in my case, that would be the theatre world, and just think, well, what's happening in my sector? What are we doing? What, in Martin, in your world, in the world of art and Artivism, what are you doing? And Rob, for you, I guess, is music your kind of solace for times like this?
Yeah, definitely gives you an opportunity. I mean, because music has the advantage of having words. I would say actually probably more disadvantage than anything else, because you feel you're supposed to say something, whereas art sometimes doesn't say something explicitly. It opens a space, and then within that space you start to think, and then ideas come to you, and I think that's the best type of art. So music is fraught in that regard, but in a political time you can be tempted to write political material, and in my life so far I've shied away from that because I just don't think I'm very good at it. But it is a way, at least, of opening people's eyes to, some of these things. So maybe last word to our guest, because we try to be a nice, kind podcast. Martin, what are you working on now? What's grabbing your attention now, and where's that taking you?
So it's the stuff I'm doing with Morella, with our daughter, is my focus at the moment. We just completed another cool project. So I know usually I use pastel pencils. I've been using the paints again, like I did with your giraffe, Theo, this week, working on a giant 3-foot fiberglass egg, which was just picked up just before we started speaking on the podcast. It was picked up on its way to London. It's going to be displayed somewhere in London. It's in a public setting over Easter for the Fabergé Big Egg Hunt, which they're bringing back because they did it in 2012. I think it was, and they're bringing it back, and we have contributed to that again this year. Last time I did one on my own, this time I did it with Morella.
Nice.
And that was very cool. And I've sort of gone with a theme of origins. So what I was talking about the origins of creativity, human creativity. So it's kind of like a design with cave paintings and fossils and that kind of thing. So it's a big public exhibition and a charity fundraiser for Asian elephant conservation. So
nice.
I saw the last big egg hunt, and it was fabulous. It's such a nice day out, apart from anything. You can just go, because
you can do a trail.
It's an art trail, and
Easter egg hunt.
The designs are spectacular, so that's really, really exciting. I can hear your other child
he's working up now before he takes over,
making his presence known, so you better get back to that. But Mart, thanks so much for coming on. It's been an absolute pleasure as always.
Thank you, guys.
And, go and check out Martin's website, avelingartworks.com, and various social media, platforms. You're on Instagram and TikTok and Facebook.
No longer
Not TikTok anymore.
No longer TikTok, no longer Twitter X. I cancelled those two.
Nice.
But Instagram is, I guess, the best place. You can find my page there, and you can also find Morella and Mart as well.
I'm not on TikTok, so I have no idea what's going on there.
Too
I still
confused.
don't really know how it works.
Yeah.
But anyway, go and check out Instagram. And thanks again, Mart. Rob, do you want to send us off into the sunset?
Yes, sirs. So a big thank you to Martin Aveling for gracing us with his presence today. If you want any further information on Martin and the work he's doing, check our show notes where we will provide copious links to the things that Martin just mentioned. You have been listening to Two Across. Thank you so much for your time, for your custom. As always, we appreciate it. If you want to follow us on the aforementioned X, you can do so at twoacrosspod, or you can write us an email, twoacrosspod@gmail.com. And if you'd like to give us a like, follow, subscribe, or suggest us to a friend, grandparent, or anyone else, we would love that too. Thanks for listening, and speak to you next week.